uncover the mysteries of Bigfoot? Join us for Squashcon, Idaho 2023. This year, we're bringing the magic directly to your screen or join us in person. Witness the world premiere of the enhanced Paul Freeman Bigfoot footage. Doug Hychek discovered a secret within this enhanced video you'll have to see to believe. Hear from an all-star panel of Bigfoot experts like Dr. Jeffrey Meldrum, Cliff Barackman, Brian King-Sharp, and Michael Freeman. But that's not all. Get exclusive online bonuses such as Bigfoot-themed wallpapers, a Bigfoot coloring book, an interactive Bigfoot quiz, Squatch Nut Field Guide, get a copy of the Freeman Bigfoot Files ebook, and more. Whether you attend in person or watch it live online, you'll be part of an unforgettable experience. Don't miss out on this unique opportunity. Secure your spot today. Squashcon, Idaho 2023. Step into the unknown.
Hey, welcome Pine Island Research Monday night, Monday, July 17th. It's a beautiful day out today here. Hope it's nice in your neck of the woods. Had a great weekend. Spent the weekend fishing, Saturday and Sunday, fishing in the Governor's Cup here in South Dakota. Fishing with our great Governor Kristi Noem. She's pretty awesome. I mean, she wasn't in my boat. There was about 120 boats in the tournament, but it was fun. It's a good time. We usually fish that every year. So yeah, caught some fish. The fishing was great. The weather was pretty good. Other than the smoke, I mean, we've been getting so much of this smoke from the Canadian wildfires, and it is just crazy how it's just, you look at the sun at 4 p.m. and you see this hazy little orange circle that's just, it's not even bright. It's crazy. I'm curious to see how many other people across the country are experiencing that. I suppose there's quite a few, and I know last year this was an issue too. We had some hazy days from the Canadian wildfires, and I remember the East Coast was having it. We were having it here. Minnesota and Wisconsin were getting a lot of smoke and haze, and for 4 or 5 days in a row, and then that jet stream just moved like 10 or 15 degrees, and over here on the western edge of Minnesota and down through the Dakotas, then we started getting it, and it's crazy. I mean, it is really, really like just it looks like complete fog in the middle of the day. But anyways, it isn't. It's other than that, I mean, the smell hasn't been that bad. I know last year when we were having the haze, it didn't smell like burning wood. It actually smelled like burning plastic almost sometimes. We don't have any. I know there's some people that say they smell kind of a sooty smell with it. I haven't had that really noticed it. But yeah, yesterday it was beautiful, clear in the morning. We get out on the water and the breeze just came up 5 or 10 miles an hour, and within an hour it was all hazy and fogged in with smoke. So other than that, I hope everybody's been doing well in their neck of the woods. Thanks for showing up for the broadcast. I see we got about 34 people watching right now. Don't really have any guests scheduled tonight. And, well, I mean, I guess maybe that isn't completely true. Doug Hychek's probably going to pop on here after a little bit and join me. But I'm just kind of giving an update on the channel, kind of what's been going on and what's going to be going on. And I don't know, it might come to some surprise to some people. I've always had maintained my old channel, Pine Island Research, even after I joined Untold Radio Network. And I did so just because there's some afternoons where if I was bored and didn't have anything going on, I'd pop on and just do a chill chat. And we had about 20, 25, 30 some people that would pop on and watch it and jump on. I'd put the link out, they'd jump on, and we'd talk about anything they wanted to talk about, whether it was Bigfoot or science or our kids or relationships. I mean, it was really crazy how those conversations really spanned all over. But what was really neat about it is at the end of the shows, people would say, man, I really needed that. It just always kind of seemed to go the right direction, for a lot of people who just wanted to, get something off their chest or be a part of that. And I still plan on doing that now and then. I enjoy doing that. And there's really no prep for it. I don't go in, when I click go live on my old channel for a chill chat, I don't have any plans on what it's going to be about. It just kind of goes where it goes, and that's the fun of it, I guess. But here a lot of prep goes into doing a show, finding the right guests and finding, trying to get material set up and get it planned out, getting links made, creating the Canva, getting on Canva and creating all the thumbnails. And I spend most of the day on Sunday, for 3-4 hours at least in the afternoon preparing what I need to do that Monday show. And it takes a lot of time. And with how active I'm planning on getting here with the research project that I have coming up. And I've got my oldest son is going to college, and we're moving him in to college in 3 weeks. And I've been dealing with some health stuff too, which we're not going to get into. This isn't a woe is me type announcement, but it's all kind of led to the fact that I've made the decision I'm not going to do a weekly show anymore. We're not going to do Pine Island Research as a weekly show on Monday nights. And I know to some people, maybe that'll be disappointing. Maybe to some, they'll be excited and happy. But to some, it might be a disappointment. I mean, I've had fun doing the shows. We've been doing them for almost 2 years now. And but it's just the time that it takes and the time that I have available with things that are going on with my career, my job, my family, and the little bit of time I have to dedicate to research. I just feel like I just don't have the time for it. It's kind of gotten to that point. So I'm not gonna disconnect completely from Untold Radio Network. I know when Doug's up at Snell Grove here in the near future, I'll be guest hosting his show for him, and may do that for a few others. May also do a show here, maybe once a month or every 4 to 6 weeks or something, where I touch bases on what I have been up to. But it's not going to be an every Monday night thing anymore. And I just don't have the time for it and the energy. But I want you to know that I have enjoyed doing it this far. I mean, I was just looking through my past episodes, the 10 months or almost a year that I was doing it on my old channel prior to Untold Radio, and then the 45 episodes that I've done here. Just all the different guests that I had and the different conversations that we've had, and it really was fun. It was really enjoyable. And there's ones that, people will say, I can't believe you had that person on, or that person doesn't. I don't believe in what they believe in. I can honestly say every guest I've had on, I certainly didn't align 100% with the way they maybe perceive things, but listen, I enjoyed the conversations. I enjoyed the interviews, and I tried not to just ask them the same questions. I mean, some of these more popular guests, they go on a lot of shows and they're interviewed an awful lot. And, they kind of have canned responses, so to speak. They get asked the same things and they answer the same questions over and over. And, it's like when I had Ron Moorhead on, I wanted to ask him things that maybe he hadn't been asked before, or at least maybe he never thought he would be asked, and that's what I enjoyed about it, is taking a little bit different angle to it. But yeah, let's see here. I'm just reading some of the comments here. Let me pull them up. Nikki says, I hear you. It's one thing jumping on shows, then prepping for your own show. Yeah. So I'll still be doing some interviews, and got some things on the horizon with Doug too that we're working on that may make it to where my schedule gets a little bit busier, but with people asking for interviews and whatnot, which I'm happy to do it. But and John says, Jeff, you gotta do what you gotta do. Just know you'll be. Well, I appreciate that, John. This isn't. I don't want anybody to think this is just kind of a flippant decision. I mean, I've been really. I mean, I have a couple of close friends who are probably here in the chat tonight that they know I've wrestled with the time, and a lot of things like that, and it just got to where, for a couple months, I've been dealing with what am I going to do? I mean, something's got to give here. And the upcoming project that I am going to be busy with is something that is important to me, and I believe can have an impact, but it isn't something that it's certainly less it takes less involvement on my part than the last project. All the kayaking and hiking and all, that was. I honestly don't think I could do that again. With the health that I'm in and the way things are for me, what I was doing 2 years ago, I don't think I could endure that again. That for 37 weeks, that was quite a regimen for me. This isn't going to be quite as bad, but it's going to be a few very remote areas that I go into, doing some vector collection and involving a couple different labs. And it's going to be fun. It's really going to be, it's something nobody's done before. And we may talk about a little bit when Doug comes on, but for the most part, because it is fairly innovative and nobody has done it before, and it carries such a possibility for an opportunity to move the ball in this whole mystery, is maybe something to be considered. But just reading what else we got here. Let's see here. My eyes, Jeff, I will miss the weekly show, but you are more important and you need to follow what is. I appreciate that. I really, really appreciate that. It's like I say, it wasn't just something I woke up and said, I don't feel like this or that. It's been something that I've been wrestling with for a while. When I first talked to Doug about it, I know it was a little bit of a shock to him too, but after talking to him, I realized, this isn't I'm not leaving Untold to go somewhere else, or do the show somewhere else. I just don't have the time to do the show. I don't have the energy to do it right now. And that may change somewhere down the line, but this upcoming project that I'm going to be involved with is something that is going to be it could be a year and a half, 2 years long. We may find what we're looking for in the project in a month or in 2 months, or we may be going at it for 18 months saying we still haven't found what we're looking for in this project. But I want to be able to give it everything that I have and all the time that I'm able to. I'm going to have others involved in it that are going to make it to where I don't have to walk every mile and do everything. But and Jen says, we will miss you, but your health is more important. I've had some eyesight issues. I'm not going to hide that. I mean, last year I had some laser treatments on my eyes that didn't seem to stop some of the bleeding from some of the blood vessels. Went on to have cataract surgery. Then after that, went on to have what do they call it afterwards, where they clear up the lenses they put in. Anyways, it's been, they do the left eye, and then a month later they do the right eye, and then you recover from that. And, so each time they do something, it's a 2 to 3 month deal. And it's always same day procedures, but, it takes so long for it to heal up right. And then for me, my left eye's gotten better and better, but my right eye hasn't. I've actually lost quite a bit of vision in my right eye. So it's frustrating for me. It's but it isn't. This year I was really bragging and excited about how I had kind of hit the holy grail in bow tags in Montana. I had drawn a bighorn sheep and mule deer and all the 3 different tags I was so excited about. But what it came down to is I turned the tags back in so they could issue them to somebody else because I honestly, out of my right eye, I can't see well enough to feel comfortable doing that. So that's where I'm at with that. Just trying to keep up here with your guys' comments. I sure appreciate everything you guys are saying. Let's see if Doug pops on or not. He might have got busy. But like I say, I will do some chill chats here and there on my old channel where just shows that take no prep. We just pop on, talk about whatever people's got going on. I like doing that. It's fun. We seem to learn a lot about each other. I think there's a lot of people out there who find themselves struggling with things and maybe they just don't feel like, I don't know. I oftentimes, you know what I really started to discover in that is that people are dealing with something and they kind of know what the right answer is. They know what route they need to go, and yet they're reluctant to do it. And then they talk about it. And they talk about it with other people and they get feedback. And it's like just that validation that they're going to do the right thing, that they're going to do what they had planned on to begin with, but maybe they were just reluctant to do it. It's just amazing, the psyche that goes through the human process but it just shows you how important fellowship is for a lot of people. But that's awesome, Trackway. Thanks so much for those words. Let me pull them up here. Jeff, it was a great hangout, and thank you for bringing us along for the journey. Well, the journey ain't over. That's why I'm going to keep my affiliation going here, because I don't want Pine Island research to end. It's just not going to be a weekly thing. It may be that I come on and do a show here once a month, or we'll just have to see. I don't want to do it just to do a show, so to speak. I'd like to do it if there's things to talk about or news to talk about. So yeah, we'll approach it as we find the need to talk about stuff. And here's Doug. How's Doug doing?
Hey, good. How are you?
I'm doing good.
So did your people in chat talk you out of this?
No, I've gotten some really, really genuine supportive comments, and I appreciate that.
Well, that's nice. They should have talked you out of it.
Yeah. It's really interesting, Doug. I noticed that the 10 months or so I did a show on my other channel before I joined Untold, and then as we built this network up, it's just crazy how the family that we really have that follows us in these chats. It's not just the same names. It's people fellowshipping with each other, supporting each other. You hear somebody talk about how they sprained their ankle, and there's 3-4 people saying, "I'm praying for you, keeping you in my thoughts."
Absolutely.
It's just cool to see that.
Well, just so everybody knows, I tried to talk Jeff out of this today.
He did.
I did. I worked as hard as I could because, and still, Jeff may come back monthly and do a show.
That's why I said
I'm all for it. So if you need to back off, we'll let you back off. I think people would much rather have less of you than none of you. Correct? Everybody?
Well, yeah, I don't, like I said, I don't just want to come on and do a show just to do a show. But I don't see anything that would keep, whether it's every 4 or 5, 6, whenever there's something
going
that I've
on.
come across in
Yeah.
research going on, or if you've got something going on, we can
Sure.
talk about whatever.
Absolutely.
Do a show, but I'm not.
Just so you know, everybody, I'll keep working, Jeff.
Yeah.
So we love Jeff. We want him to stay. And first thing I'm going to do is make him guest host. Yeah, we'll just keep going.
Yeah.
And no, I don't have my purple
You
drink.
need to cover for me.
Although I did just eat some nasty food. Ugh.
What'd you have?
Yeah, it's like Mickey, it's then a D.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, well, they don't sponsor us, so we won't say them. But...
No. But anyhow, it wasn't very good. Yeah.
Mm.
Feels like I just ate a whole mouthful of chemicals.
Yeah, it's funny, some of these fast food places, some of them have gotten a little bit better and some of them have gotten a little bit worse, it seems like.
Don't you think that they would? Could you imagine if McDonald's announced one day, we're not going to put one artificial ingredient, no chemicals, no preservatives in our food? Don't you think people would go, yay, and they just, their business would go up quadruple, I would think.
Yeah, I would say
if McDonald's went organic or just quit putting the junk in the food.
Yeah.
I mean, really, do you really have to have corn syrup in the French fries?
Yeah. I don't know. When you look at what goes into some of these foods when it comes to preservatives and stuff, I mean, I understand there has to be some sort of a preservative in it to stabilize it, but you look at the lengths of the artificial ingredients they put in these foods now.
Yeah.
A friend of mine's asked me, if I had tried this organic burger that he's been using to grill burgers with. It's just organic beef, grass-fed beef. And I said, I use plant-based beef now. And he goes, what plant is it based off of?
Exactly.
I said, the meat processing plant.
Oh, Jeff, I was going to ask you a question because I had an experience Saturday. I have never eaten a mulberry ever.
Oh, I just ate one yesterday.
Oh, okay. But see, for some reason, mulberries have just bypassed my whole life.
Really?
I don't know what it is. So anyhow,
my daughter is part of the country.
But my daughter's got a huge mulberry tree.
Yeah.
And it was just ripe with it. And so my son Blaine climbs to the top of the tree, and everybody in the family's gathered around, and he's throwing mulberries into our mouth. And he got out of that tree eventually. His hands were bright purple.
Yeah, they'll stain like a blueberry.
God, I couldn't believe it. I handled a few, and my literally it stains all over my hands.
Yeah, mulberries. We had a mulberry tree when I was growing up, but I actually have one here in the yard too. That's on my neighbor's yard. But every time I drive by it on my mower, I'll stop and pick a few off. And it's funny because throughout the whole summer, about 2/3 of the tree will be bright red or light red mulberries that aren't ready to eat. I mean, if you ate one, it's like rhubarb sour.
Oh, they're really okay. So
the ones that
we
get
have
dark,
super sweet. Yeah.
Yeah. Then they really get sweet, and they'll make, wine, mulberry wine out of them. There's all kinds of stuff to make.
But Jeff, I feel like I stepped into a new dimension. How did I miss?
I don't know.
Every day. How did I miss mulberries?
Yeah, in the Dakotas and Iowa and Minnesota and Wisconsin. I mean, the upper Midwest, they're pretty common.
Do they grow in the forest?
Yeah.
Wild.
Yep.
Holy crap. I feel like
what's interesting though is I will walk by mulberry trees sometimes and not realize they're mulberry trees. And then you start really looking at the branches and like, oh, there's a mulberry. And then you start looking around.
Really?
Because all the mulberries that are at your eye level are probably going to be gone when they're out in those areas.
Right.
The deer and everything's eating, the bears are eating them. But you look up 5-6 feet above that eye line, it's just like solid berries all over up
Oh, it was incredible. But I'm just still trying to figure out. I mean, obviously, I've heard of mulberries. Isn't there a famous song?
Oh yeah, Mulberry wine. I think was who was that? D.N. Carter. Somebody.
Well, there's some other song, kids songs even.
Yeah.
But I've never eaten a damn mulberry. Just like, what dimension have I been living in? So, I just wondered what you knew about them.
Yeah, I know that they make jelly out of them. I have a cookbook that was wrote by, you probably remember Patrick McManus. He was
he was the sports writer for
he was the
Sports of Field
humor
magazine.
Yeah, and he was a sarcastic humor writer for Outdoor Life. And the last page of the magazine, he always had one of his small. Well, he wrote like 13, 14 different books where each chapter is a short story, like you would have read in one of those magazines.
Right.
And, a lot of it talks about when he was growing up and his friends and the little stories about it. I mean, it's just, he's hilarious. He really is hilarious. But he wrote a cookbook, and I had to order it, of course, when I seen it. But he has like 10 different kinds of wine, dandelion wine, mulberry wine, jellies, preserves, just stuff that you make out of elderberries, mulberries, stuff you find growing on these trees in these parts,
So do you think Bigfoot eats mulberries?
I would think that Bigfoot would eat every damn kind of berry that's out there if given the chance.
Well, apparently the trees are easy to climb too.
Yeah, I don't. That's something that I wrestle with. I mean, people talk about Bigfoot climbing trees and stuff. If you weighed 800-900 pounds, you ain't gonna climb up very far. And if you did, I don't know how much the trees can endure. But the younger ones, I guess, if you had a younger one that weighed 150, 250 pounds, they could climb up those trees like monkeys and eat those berries, I suppose.
Yeah. But there must have been, 500,000 berries in this tree.
Squashcon says, what do they taste similar to? Well, mulberries are similar to blackberries.
Yeah, but they have kind of a flowery.
There's a floral, fragrant flavor. It isn't just sweet, like a blackberry is. But I think some of that is that, you look at a raspberry, wild raspberries or blackberries, the number of seeds that are in them, each little deal has a seed in it. Mulberries are the same, but it's so compacted in it that I guess if one of those little lobes, let's say, that has a seed in it that compiles a raspberry or blackberry, I think your typical mulberry probably has twice as many of those lobes per berry, and they're smaller. And so maybe the consistency of eating them just has a more sour or floral feel because there's more seeds in it and stuff. I don't know. But
anyhow, I just feel like I've been living under a rock. I don't know.
I'm glad you found out.
Yeah, well, see, John, he goes, what did he say? All around the mulberry bush. That's the kids' song. I remember.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it's like, well, what the heck? To me, mulberries were always something that grew in some other, exotic state like California or Oregon. Yeah. I had no idea we had them here. None. Zero. So learn. Look, you're never too old to learn, ever. Not even close. Not even close.
So Chessboard says, all around the mulberry bush was a song about prisoners exercising around the bush. I did not know that.
I didn't either. Interesting.
But mulberries, if you've got them real ripe, you can just mash them up and put them right over ice cream, just like you would raspberries or anything else.
But the staining is like 20 times worse than
than a
blackberry.
It's like a blueberry. It's like blueberries when it comes to staining.
Oh, no, Jeff. Way worse.
You think it's worse?
Oh, my God, way worse. My fingernails were stained for days. And I'm sure Blaine, I can only imagine. I mean, he picked, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. He was up to his wrists. Looked like he had 2 purple gloves on.
Well, I used to look out my window and I'd see this kid ride by on his bike from our neighborhood, and he'd stop at this tree and stand there and was picking stuff out of the tree, eating it. And I wasn't aware there was a tree there. There's a lot of trees around, but it's like, what is he eating? And I seen him do this like 3 days in a row. This kid would stop and he'd stand there for half an hour gorging himself, just eating something off this tree. And so the next time I mowed, I was going by that tree and I thought, what I'm looking at going, what is this? And I see all these mulberries in this tree. I'm like, I didn't even know there was a mulberry tree here.
God, that's so cool.
But this kid would eat them every time he rides his bike past it.
Speaking of bikes, I'm reading Gary Johnson's his chat text, and he goes, I went riding bike today, ended up getting a flat. He had to push the bike back about 4 miles in the heat. So, Gary, get yourself a tire patch kit. But here's the key to using a tire patch kit easy. You don't need to take the wheel off. You just pry. You got to get those plastic little pry bars. Pry a little bit of the tube out. Pull the tube out, where it's bad. Patch the tire, but don't test the patch. Everybody goes to test the patch, and they blow the tire up before it's in the tire. And then, of course, the patch stretches off and leaks. So people think, oh, patching's no good. No, patch it. Follow the instructions, throw it back in and pump it up, and you're on your way, man. So there you go, Gary. Don't do that again. Get a patch kit. No fun. I did it once. Never again.
I figured your new e-bikes that you build would be like the Hummer, and it would have like self-repairing, self-inflating tires.
Yeah,
blow one out and just sit there for a minute while it fixes itself and blows it up.
Nope. Although I do, I like to build fat tire bikes, and they're really easy to patch compared to a mountain bike.
Yeah.
You have so much room on the tire, it's big, huge, wide sidewall, and you can pry those things. They're low pressure, and you can pry them out. But God, just go to Amazon and get a good little tire patch kit. Carry it with you. So cool.
I seen on Facebook that Todd Neese had came and did a little filming in your backyard for LMS too, but also took a chance to pick up a bike that you had built for him about 4 months ago. And he's
keep going. That was probably a year ago.
And finally he got there to pick it up.
Yeah. No, he liked it. And
the Sasquatch Research Edition.
We went riding, and we ended up filming a sequence and did an interview on his pretty famous sighting, which we're thinking strongly of completely reenacting it with actors and, getting an animator to animate what he saw. So
interesting.
Yeah. So God knows where he is now. He's probably somewhere in Oklahoma. That's my guess.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he seemed pretty excited about getting the bike.
Yeah, and the bike that I built for him is really good for the mountains. It's good for going up because it's got a true transmission in it. So you can shift down to low gear and uphill go up the mountains. So
yeah, I see that these, over-the-counter e-bikes are actually slowly starting to get better and better, but they're only getting better with the charge times and things like that. They really aren't getting better with how they're made, I don't think.
Well, the biggest problem you're going to have with a commercial e-bike is, one, if it does break, usually everything's hidden, all the wires. So you're not going to be able to just instantly replace a component. Mm-hmm. If the controller blows, you can't even find it. It's in the frame hidden.
Yeah.
In many cases, it's a hydroform frame, and they've jammed it way in there, and you just may not have the wherewithal to get it out. But the real biggest problem I see, they're putting pretty small capacity batteries, 8 amp hour. So you get a wattage, like a 48 volt or a 52 volt. The voltage is generally the speed, And the amp hour is how big your gas tank is. So you want to look for a bike that's got like I wouldn't buy a bike that has a minimum of an amp hour of like 15 to 17.
For instance, I seen one on my Facebook. Of course, Facebook heard me talking about Todd News' bike. So then all of a sudden starts feeding me all these things in my feed about e-bikes. And one of them would do 28 miles per hour with a 72-mile range. And I thought,
no way.
It don't have a 72-mile range going 28 miles an hour.
No
I guarantee you that.
Okay. So most e-bikes class 3 have a throttle and pedal assist. Pedal assist eats up in like level 1 or 2 as you're pedaling about 80 watts. But if you hit the throttle, you're jumping up to 700 watts, 500 watts. So you're eating way more when you're using the throttle. So maybe in pedal assist 1 on a flat terrain, no wind, maybe they irked out 72 with a 100-pound guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you start getting into real life, like I was out biking, I think we were talking yesterday, or texting, and I said I'm fighting a 40-mile headwind, and it was nuts. I mean, it was just, it almost blew me off the bike. I was fighting that all the way home. Without an e-bike, that would have been a futile situation.
Yeah.
It would have been futile.
Well, I know one of the things that you were telling me about the bikes that you build, people don't really probably get until they've had some experience with them. They don't get the amount of torque that these things create. Yeah. I mean, from a standing stop, when you hit that throttle, it is tremendous amount of torque that goes through that gear.
In low gear, in a bike with a mid-drive. In low gear, you've got a lot of power, but you don't have much speed.
No, but you've got a lot of these over-the-counter type bikes being built by name brands that those gears, whether they're plastic or low-grade metal, just can't handle that kind of torque. And you were telling me, one of the main things that you do is CNCing out like brass gears or some type of a gear that can handle that.
Well, like I upgrade the sprocket.
Yeah.
The actual drive sprocket. But generally the gears inside will fail. For instance, if Todd had a hub motor, rear hub motor where there's a sun gear in the motor versus a mid-drive, he would burn his motor out pretty quick. He would overheat and peanut butter his gears. They would melt.
Yeah.
Literally going up a mountain. But now he can drop it in low gear. And he's got plenty of torque to go up. You want to keep the motor high RPM. Well, with a hub motor, you can't.
Yeah.
It just bogs down. And once it bogs down, it's just creating heat. That's all that's happening. So, yeah.
Well, it'll be interesting to start reading some of his feedback and kind of the experiences he has with it.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Well, anyhow, I'm going to let you go, Jeff, and I'll leave you alone with your audience. But you know my feelings. I am sorry to see you get away, but I'm going to keep working you, and hopefully we can get you at least once a month.
Well, yeah, I like I say, I'm completely open to doing that, and I think it's important that people understand this wasn't me, having a reason to want to leave Untold. I'm not taking Pine Island research somewhere else. This is a matter of a project that I've got on the horizon and some other things in my life that I've been dealing with that require some time that I just don't have the time. And I've got to figure out how to make this work. And
well, people don't realize podcasting, it is very time consuming. It's a 2-day, to do a 1-hour show, it can be 2 days of work.
Yeah. No doubt about it. But no, I appreciate you popping on, Doug. And
it's my pleasure.
I won't stay a stranger. And I know you had asked me when you go up to Snell Grove if I would be willing to guest host your show. I would love to help you with that. So don't worry about that.
All right, considered it done. So we will talk soon, and we're talking about doing a little Legend Meat science project with you too. So
yeah, the that's something that, it sounded like this week, and the next 2 weeks it probably isn't going to work, but we'll get it figured out.
Absolutely.
Probably at the end of the month here. So,
Super.
right.
All right, guys. So
bet.
Jeff, thank you so much, and we will talk soon.
Yeah,
Bye.
we'll talk to you
All
soon,
right.
Doug.
Over and out. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, so I just was looking at people popping in here. Daniel said, "What? Just heard Jeff is going." Yeah, so just a letter. If anybody missed that, I'm not going to be doing a weekly show anymore. I'll be here to guest host for Doug, and there'll be an affiliation, so to speak, with Untold, in that I may come back every 4 to 6 weeks and do a show, kind of an update show, but I will not be doing coffee time on Monday mornings, and I will not be doing a Pine Island Research Monday night show every week. So that is coming to an end. I've got some irons in the fire that just aren't going to work. The fire's going to go out if I don't create some space for this. And I've got some really important things on my horizon, both in the upcoming research project that I have, but also, my oldest is leaving for college here, and I want to be available for what he may need from me. And so this is a lot going on here. Some stuff going on with my work. For those who know, I am a real estate broker by day. A lot of that is it's a small firm, couple agents work for me. We do mostly residential, but I do some development work and commercial with a couple partners, and I want to start moving away from the residential side of real estate and work more in the development side, because it creates more free time for myself. But that whole process and that transition is going to take a lot of work. To figuratively land one plane and get the other one airborne is something where I just don't have, like Doug said, when I'm spending the majority of Sunday getting ready for a Monday morning, a Monday evening show, I don't have that day and a half available anymore in this process. So, and like I had mentioned, I've got some health stuff I'm dealing with. I've got some vision stuff that unfortunately my right eye seems to be getting worse, but that is what it is. I mean, I've kind of prepared for that, I mean, my eye doctors have told me, hey, you got a shitty retina and you'll probably lose your eyesight completely. Eventually, it's just a matter of that regression of how quickly it will happen. And so, every 3 months I go in and get it looked at. I've had surgeries on it. And in the last 6 months, it's deteriorated pretty quickly. And so, it's a little unsettling, but you know what? I'm fine with that. If that's where it goes, that's where it goes. I mean, I'm a realist, and I understand that you can wish in one hand and crap in the other, and see which gets filled first, and it'll always be the other. So, I'm ready for that, if that's what the future holds. But no, I appreciate all the well wishes. Jay Fritz, yeah, it sucks getting old, bro. You are right, Jay. It does. Chessboards of Jeff, blessings. Blessings your way. Take care. The rest will take care of itself. You are right. You are right. But listen, man, I mean, it's important that everybody understands that, the fun that I've had doing this show wasn't me or wasn't the guests. It was you guys. I mean, you're the ones who made it fun. That so many of the shows I never bullet pointed out. Every time I'd have a guest on, I'd tell them, they'd say, okay, what's the show going to be like? I said, well, this is probably different than most shows you've been interviewed on. We're going to start out with the typical what sparked your interest, what was that catalyst for you, and then I'm going to ask you some questions about your experience or your research or whatever their background was. And then I tell them about halfway through the shows, we're going to have 50, 60 people watching on live view, and they're going to be asking questions, and we'll just follow their lead. And that's pretty much how every show went. I mean, I didn't really need to bullet point out everything that we were going to be talking about. But appreciate that, Faster Man. Let's see here. Take care of your health, Jeff. Looking at a screen for hours isn't easy on the eyes. Yeah, I don't know if that was really what did it, but you are right. I mean, I've gotten to where I have to look closer and closer at these comments to be able to read them well. But anyways, like I say, I will keep doing some chill chats here and there on my other channel. It's just your Monday nights will not be spent here every Monday night at 8 o'clock because I will not be here every Monday night at 8 o'clock. Now, there may be one of the other shows in the Untold lineup that fills the slot. We'll have to see. But it isn't going to be me anymore. You may see me pop onto some of the other shows, but, it's pretty obvious. I mean, most people who have been following along understand how busy I've been getting with my job, my family, and the research that I'm doing. And that's because, I used to pop on Moses' show, either on Tuesday or Thursday. He does it twice a week. One of those nights I'd pop on and shoot the shit with him and say hi and whatnot. I haven't done that in it may be going on a month and a half, 2 months now. And that sucks. I enjoy popping him, chatting with him. I enjoyed being able to pop on Nikki's show or Joe's show or Steve's show. But I'm still going to be around to do that. If somebody was to ask me to come on and shoot me a link, I would certainly do that. But just this regimen of not having any Sundays or Mondays available because of the commitment to doing a Monday night show every week, I just simply cannot do it anymore. So I'm not saying I'm quitting because of this or that, or I'm mad at this. It's not the case. It's not the case. It's just simply time. So, but I appreciate you guys. Appreciate the week after week seeing you guys pop into this chat. You guys don't know how much that meant to me, and it was just really awesome. That kind of support was genuine, and I'm not blind to the fact that you had other choices to spend your Monday nights on, and you chose to come here. And I don't take that for granted, and I am very appreciative of that. But it is time for me to move on and work on some of this other stuff. There won't be a schedule for when I do pop back on here and do a show here on Untold. It's just I'll try to make it to where maybe a couple days in advance you'll get a notification if your notifications are turned on that maybe I'll still do it on Monday nights when I do it. We'll throw it out on like Friday, so people will have a couple days notice instead of just an hour's notice or whatnot. But I'm not, like I said earlier, I'm not going to do a show just to do a show. I'm only going to do a show if there's something that I have to talk about in the research I'm doing, or maybe there's something in the community to talk about, or Doug's got something he wants to talk about. I'll come on and do a show, and we can kind of just approach it as those opportunities come up. But I will let you guys go. I hope everyone has a great rest of your week. And like I said, if you follow me on Pine Island Research, aside from the Untold Radio Network on my own channel, every now and then I'll pop on during the day and do a do a chill chat. It's kind of a random thing, but I don't know how often those will be either. So, but thank you so much for your support. Thanks for the beautiful comments tonight. It means a lot to me. Appreciate all of you so much. Thanks.